welcome back to my channel. As you can tell from the background, there have been quite a few changes in my life. Recently, in the past few months, I have completely moved, and there have been a lot of things that I've discovered about myself and what life is really like after graduation. In today's video, I wanted to share with you 7 different things that I think you should know if you are about to graduate. Today's video is probably going to be a little chatty, so grab your drink of choice. Mine is, of course, a matcha latte. As you guys know, matcha queen over here. I am absolutely obsessed with matcha. Okay, so first thing I wanted to talk about is that I have a lot of freedom now to pursue the hobbies that I love. One of my biggest hobbies right now is cooking and baking. I'm absolutely obsessed with cooking and baking. I have bought so many cookbooks in the past few months. Back when I was in college, you kind of feel this pressure to study constantly. There's almost a concept of, no amount of studying is ever enough. There's always something you can do to improve your resume. There's always some club you can join. There's always work in some sort of field that you can be doing. And that sort of time pressure in which you feel like you need to constantly be working on something does not really exist once you start working, because after you finish work, or whenever you decide to finish work, that time is for you. You can chill, you can watch TV shows, you can hang out with friends, you can do whatever you actually love to do. Your work is kind of non-stop, and your career is going to go on for the next few decades of your life, so there's no rush to do things as soon as possible. And I think it's really important, if anything, to pace yourself so you don't burn out. I think making money kind of unlocks this freedom in which you can pursue your hobbies and use your financial freedom to do what you want in your spare time. Number 2 is making friends is much harder than in college. So I would consider myself to be a pretty social person. I generally put myself out there. I'm very extroverted, I'm very social, and I try my best to connect with different people. Once you come out of college, a lot of people now live in their own apartments. And now with work, it's really difficult to make friends. And I think that was a huge question that I had, which was, how am I going to make friends with people? In college, it's different because you make friends with everyone who is basically at your level. Everyone is newly entering college, they're all freshmen or sophomores, whatever, but you're all in the very same stage of life. And the thing about college is that there are also activities like clubs, right? And there are also other activities that really helps to facilitate you to make friendships with other people your age. And once you get out of college, there really isn't anything like that. There's no program that's oh, get all the new grads together. There's nothing like that. It's very much about being proactive about going out and making friends. And from my experience, making friends is very much kind of like dating. You meet a bunch of different people through various different means. I met some people through Facebook, through Instagram, through friends of friends, through mutual friend, very much 3rd, 4th degrees away. And I've just been doing my best to meet as many people as possible. And how it is in dating, you just meet a bunch of people and you hang out with them a couple times. If you really hit it off, you hang out with each other more and more. Others you kind of just naturally drift away from. And I feel like that has been my experience for how you make friends. The friends that you make after graduation, they will not compare to the depth of friendship that you develop with the people that you make friends with in college. Because if you think about it, my friends that I made in college, I basically lived with them. I would spend definitely a good, a third of my day with these people constantly. If you spend a third of the day with a certain subset of people and you multiply that by 4 years and how many days that you see each other, right? That number of cumulative hours, it would take me years, maybe even decades, to achieve that same level of closeness of friendship with the friends that I make now, because I can't be hanging out with these people all the time because, as I mentioned, everyone has work now. So after your supposed 9 to 5, then maybe you allocate a few hours on a weekday, maybe a few hours on the weekend to start to grow your friendship. Because of the constraint of time that you have during the week, it is nearly impossible to develop the same level of closeness that you have with your college friends as you will with your new friends that you make post-grad. And if you are going to make the decision that I did, which was live alone, you're creating another hurdle for yourself. If I were to have a roommate, it probably would have made it easier for me to make friends because I would at least have someone to talk to. She could make friends and she would introduce me to her friends. Maybe she knew other people, or at least we would have each other. But now living on my own, I really just have myself. And luckily I'm okay with being alone, and I really do well with my alone time, and I have a lot of different hobbies that I like to pursue, so it's not too difficult for me. But if you are someone who doesn't like to be alone, if you're someone who has a hard time making friends, I would suggest that you should get a roommate. It would also cut costs for rent as well, and I think it would make it easier for you to make friends. My biggest tip is really just to be proactive and really put yourself out there. That leads me to my third point, which is that post-grad life can be really lonely. There was a point, I think a few weeks ago, when I first moved in, maybe it was like 3 weeks into moving in, I basically had a mental breakdown. I was so sad. I was sobbing. I was breaking down sobbing every single day for 3 days straight because I hated my job. I hated the people that I was working with. I had no friends. I just felt so lonely. There was also like some personal things happening in my life where some person I was talking to, I felt like it wasn't working out. And I just felt like there were a lot of emotions that were just kind of coming onto me at once. And I felt so overwhelmed. Like I just started to break down and cry. And I felt so sad because I didn't have anyone in the city who I could talk to. Everyone was a phone call away, and maybe there was time difference because I have some friends who are on the East Coast, and I don't want to always bother my friends with some problem that I have when I know that with time, like, it will pass and I will be okay. I just didn't have that person in the city who I could talk to at any given moment about anything, and I just felt very alone. So I can say now that, I have developed friendships even with the people that I'm working on in my team, which has made it really pleasant. I'm also liking what I do for my work, which has also been really great. And at the same time, I've been making friends. I've been working on that. I have been pursuing my hobbies. So the loneliness gets better. So that leads me to my next point, which is that time is really so valuable, and in reality you only have free time on the weekends. But for my personal work schedule, I work from 10 o'clock in the morning to maybe around 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and then after that I go work out, and then after I come back from my workout, maybe it's like 7:30, then I make dinner, then I make dinner and I shower, and then I clean, and then okay, it's 9:30 now, and I basically go to bed at like 11:30, and then so really from 9:30 to 11:30, I have like 2 hours for myself. With work, your life is a lot more rigid and there's a lot more structure to your day. As you get older, I think you'll realize that because time is so valuable and you only really have weekends, I think it's important to sort of choose wisely with how you spend your time and who you want to spend that time with. And this naturally leads me to my fourth point, which is that time management is crucial for success. And I think that this is something that I was told, throughout college and throughout most of my life, which is just that it's really important to have good time management skills. But I don't think I truly understand nor embodied that until I started to live on my own. When so much of your day is occupied through work, I think that it really kind of made me reevaluate what do I really love to do and what makes me truly happy, and that, whatever the answer to that is what I want to use my extra time to work on. I kind of took the time to think about, what am I really passionate about? What are things that genuinely get me excited? And the answers to that for me are really just like cooking and matcha. I get so excited about the next meal that I'm making. I get so excited flipping through cookbooks, watching YouTube videos, watching other people cook. I get so excited going to the grocery store. And when it comes to matcha, I get so excited to try new matcha powders. Sometimes I go to bed dreaming about matcha or cooking, and my bedtime reading is literally like a cookbook. I think it's important for you to find a distinct balance between your work life and doing the things that you genuinely love. The next thing I want to talk about is that post-grad life is really just the start to a decade-long journey of your life. College, that it's for 4 years and it's going to prepare you for your career. And I think what I realize is that, just because I started my career, it doesn't mean that my journey has ended. If anything, sometimes I stress myself out because I'm thinking, in the next 2 years, what's my life going to be? In the next 4 years, am I going to go to grad school? Am I going to go to business school? Am I going to move to a new city? Am I going to go work for a new company? Am I going to just try something completely different and start working in a whole different industry? I have had a lot of these questions. And I've been thinking really deeply about, what is my next step in my career? And I think that adds to feeling lonely because in college, everyone sort of has the same goal of getting a job, and everyone knows that you get a job after 4 years of college. But the difference is that now that you've started post-grad life, is that not everyone wants to switch to a new job after 2, 3, 4 years. Some people just want to stay at the same company. Some people want to go stay at bigger companies. Others want to start their own company. Some people want to work at startups. Some people, don't work at all and then they marry rich. You never know. Just like everyone has their own journey, and I think that adds to this feeling of loneliness. You may be pursuing something that the people near you aren't, and they don't care about, and maybe they don't support it the same way, or maybe they don't understand, what you're trying to pursue. As someone with a very type A personality, someone who struggles with going with the flow, I very much like to write down what is my next step in life, or what do I want in the next step of life. And maybe a month or two from now, I can reassess and reevaluate, and when the time comes, I can change it. I don't think that's a big deal. Nothing has to be set in stone, but for my personal mental sanity, I like to constantly evaluate where I am, if I like it, if I like what I'm doing, if not, if I'm bored, if I feel like I'm growing stagnant, then change. The last thing I want to talk about really is that when you graduate from college, my responsibilities have just increased tenfold, in the sense that I now pay for my own health insurance. I pay for my own dental insurance, vision insurance, medical insurance. I now have to take care of my health savings account. I have to deal with my 401k. There's a lot of financial responsibility that I feel now that I have started to work full time. How much am I gonna save monthly? How much am I going to save, and where am I gonna save it? And thinking about things like, okay, I need to budget for certain things. I need to have emergency cash funds. What if I want to save for a car? What if I want to save for a condo? What if I want to buy an apartment sometime in the future? Even things like, if I sell some stock, or if I have to liquidate some asset, I need to figure out how to do the taxes for that. And I have to make sure I save extra for the long or short-term capital gains tax that I have. And of course, there are also responsibilities like, now that I live on my own, I have to make sure my apartment is always clean. I wipe down all the surfaces, and that has never been a problem for me. I've always been very much like a neat freak. I think it's really important that once you start post-grad life, I think being self-sufficient is a very important skill that everyone should be working on developing. If you don't know how to do your taxes, you really need to learn how to do that. I started to do my taxes maybe 2 years into college as a way to train myself for post-grad life. You need to excel at time management. You need to be very aware of what things make you happy and what things don't. And if something is not making you happy, or if you are not genuinely enjoying something, then you need to cut that thing off extremely quickly, because as I mentioned, time is just so valuable. Things definitely don't happen overnight. You're not gonna make best friends overnight. And that's something that I'm still working on. It's only been 2 months for me here, so maybe I'll give you guys a 6-month update or a year update. I understand that everyone's experience after graduating is very different, and it's of course very dependent on your job, the city that you live in, and of course your personality. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it so much, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. If you guys are interested in my cooking videos or my cooking anything, I have an Instagram for that now. It is at Munchies with Mare. That is my food Instagram account, and I post reels there which are reposted from my TikTok. Definitely follow that food Instagram account if you are interested in all things food related and whatever cooking creations that I've been coming up with or practicing. Make sure you guys follow all the accounts. I'll make sure to link all of them in the description box down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!
Picnic with my best friends. We start to plan what we will do.